I'm Arthur, genealogy librarian at Greensboro Public Library. I'd like to introduce you to some basic principles of family history research. I'm not going to talk right now so much about how to do genealogical research, so much as how to think about doing it. Bear with me. Genealogy is a big and complex topic. The records and sources that we use to identify family and ancestors come in a great variety. The factors feeding into that variety largely have to do with changes in record keeping across different time periods and in different nations, states, and counties. Furthermore, every family is different. Where and when the events of their lives took place, the timing and destination of family migrations, whether an individual did or didn't own land, did or didn't marry, and many other factors dictate what records may have been produced. Consequently, the best way to research any given family will be unique to that family. In a certain sense, your research will be a mirror of the movements and activities of the specific people you're researching. So, where to begin? Since I'm a generalist and reference librarian at heart, I like to begin with organizing principles, basic ways of thinking about genealogical research as a process to give you a general sense of the overall structure within which you're likely to be working. The biggest variables that will determine how you do your research have to do with time and place. That is, the whens and wheres of the events of your ancestors' lives. If I had to choose just one piece of starting information about an individual, without hesitation, I would choose to know the where, the county or counties they lived in. There are other things I'd love to know: time period, religion, ethnicity. Those are all handy in pointing the way forward. But if I only got one, I'd pick the county, because knowing the county an individual lived in is the primary key to access the real bread and butter of genealogical research, which are county-level records. Moreover, the reason that knowing the county matters so much is that, even with the modern internet in the 21st century, many county records are not online. And some of those that are online are not pulled together in big collective databases. It very much remains true today that if you don't know what county to look in, you may not realistically expect to be able to find deeds, wills, marriage records, and other records that are typically produced by a county-level government body, what we often refer to as the courthouse, even though courthouse can actually mean a couple different things in practice. There are also county-level records that are not produced by a government entity at all, things like church records, cemeteries, and newspapers. But those tend to be local in nature, with a specific location as the main point of access. In its essence, genealogy is the process of locating and interpreting records in order to extract information from them. The records we use to find information about people, whether in genealogy or history, were all created for diverse and specific reasons, in specific places and times. Hardly any of them were created with the purpose of making it easier for future researchers to do family history. For example, a marriage record was created because someone intended to get married. A deed was created because someone bought or sold property. That's obvious, but it's also incredibly important because it means that your ancestors will only appear in the records that are recorded. They're not created by people sitting around at home not doing anything. They record events, usually events of meaningful legal and economic consequence. This has all kinds of implications for what is and isn't possible, and for what is and isn't likely. For example, children are less likely to appear on many kinds of records because children are not typically parties to contractual agreements, like marriage and land ownership. The point is, genealogical research should really start with learning about what records were created in the times and places your ancestors lived, and then looking in those records for any ancestors who might logically have appeared in them. If someone grew up in Guilford County, North Carolina, but later moved and died in Wayne County, Indiana, there isn't going to be a death certificate in Guilford County, but there might be a birth certificate, a marriage license, or other records. Of course, you may very well start off not knowing much about the people you want to research. You might not know where the events of their lives took place. Indeed, as your research progresses, you will almost certainly find yourself in situations where you know where someone was for some stretch of time, but not know where they came from or where they went to. That is to say, a migration event, the movement of an individual or family group from one place to another. There are ways around those kinds of challenges, and a few ways that are easy to get stuck. We'll get to those types of situations and their solutions in future installments.